And it's that cyclical understanding that life is not a timeline, but rather it's this repeating pattern.
Yeah.
Stuff that you would see, and I mean, it's when you begin to read the book of Revelation and the book of John kind of through that lens,
Mhm.
you're going to notice things or patterns. You're going to notice overlays that you haven't seen before. And what's amazing is that's actually how the Bible's laid out. We're
Yeah.
actually talking about this, and this is kind of my way of speaking to both audiences at the same time. We
Mhm.
did communion 3 weeks ago, and it's really interesting to do communion when you can't talk. But we
Yeah.
did communion 3 weeks ago, and then we took it back to Genesis 3 2 weeks ago.
Mm.
And it's amazing how the very mechanism that we basically separated ourselves from God, which was through the eating, right? The consumption. We ate a fruit, and that act of eating separated us from God. Isn't it amazing? And it's only the honest of God that could do this, is that the very act that separated us from God, Jesus instituted in the Lord's Supper of we will eat to redeclare our allegiance to God. And so it's this pattern, this repetitious thing, that
Yeah.
something happened in the physical that had absolute detrimental consequences in the spiritual. And what you do is you begin to identify realms. You have this physical realm that we obviously live and interact with, but there is a spiritual realm where that obviously exists, and that God, at the end of the day, is spirit. And there's this other realm, this legal realm, where when what declarations that happen here in the physical have ramifications in the spiritual, and this all happens in a legal courtroom, if you will. And if you look all over the Bible, you will find this all over the place. I literally threw it, I mean, a metaphorical dart at scripture and landed in Zechariah. In Zechariah chapter 3, verses 1 through 5, literally have this courtroom laid out, which if you look at this courtroom, I mean, it literally overlays into Matthew in the words that Genesis would say, or it overlays into Isaiah. I mean, it's just repetitive over and over. And when you zoom out and you realize, stop reading the Bible this way, start reading it this way, you realize it overlays on one another. And then you hear someone like a Tim Alberino explain, well, that's how a wormhole works. And you're just like, your mind starts to go, and you're like, okay, how do I talk to two groups of people? And for me, man, it all had to do with packaging.